Namaskar, good evening.
Namaste.
Today we have Dr. Vic Gaffney from Australia with us, who's president of International Institute of Leadership. He has been staying in India for more than 40 years and his entire family is in India. Rather, he is Indian. Okay. And he has he has been working in many fields like permaculture, organic farming, and many other things, sustainable livelihood, lifestyle. What makes us come together is we are joining hands with the Indo-European Chamber of Small and Medium Enterprises, is joining hands with International Institute of Leadership, which is based out of Florida, USA, to create future leaders for India. See, because what's happening in India is we are now one of the fastest growing economies and moving towards Vishwaguru Bharat. And more than two-thirds of the nations are waiting for Indian leadership to take up for various issues being faced by them in their countries. Peace, global harmony is one of the major concerns of the society today. We have wars all over. And then the important aspect is loss of integrity which is there. So this is what we intend to train at least 1 million future leaders for India through Kamdhenu chairs, which we are already creating in Indian universities. So now I want you to speak about yourself, and then we'll put some questions, and so it will be introductory, and then we'll be having series of talks in coming time.
So folks, let's just regard this as an introduction. My name is Dr. Vic Gaffney from Melbourne, Australia. My work in this current avatar is about developing leadership qualities across the board. Now, if we have a look at what is the concept of leadership, you don't necessarily have to be a manager or an owner-operator of a business or a government babu. Anybody can display leadership qualities. But what is the benefit of that? We need leadership in nearly every discipline you can think of. For example, amongst our sports people, amongst our medical community, amongst the legal community, including in governance. There are many different ways leadership skills can be directed towards the benefit of society. So leadership covers more than just management. It covers personality development, internal development, the ability to communicate, the ability to resonate, the ability to listen. There are many qualities in leadership which are not being taught in the current curricula in India. So we're seeking to address that to help Indian society produce the leaders of the future in so many disciplines, not just in governance, not just in management, but across the board. So that's the mission that we're talking about, and that's the work that I'm in discussion with at the moment with Dr. Vijay. And so I'm very pleased to present that for the public.
We welcome you to this platform. Okay, you just finish talking. Now, we'll be doing this because since you are designing a curriculum for leadership.
Correct.
At various levels, certificates till PhD. I think we'll be having 5 to 6 sessions of 2 hours each on the discussion on the subject before we launch it at a national level.
Yes, at this stage, the modules are being written up and created, so we haven't yet reduced it down to certificate courses. However, we're working on that currently, and we will release that information soon. Within a few weeks, it'll all be ready.
So we'll be taking to all the states of India. In fact, the first program, what we're going to do is we're going to train, or we're going to do workshop with our members of parliament and legislative assemblies, including three-tier Panchayati Raj system of our country. And in the next phase, we are going to make our channel partners in universities and colleges across the India. This is how we intend to network or create the leaders for the future for India.
The goal is to provide these opportunities as far and wide as possible, because leadership is not something exclusive just for the well-heeled or the wealthy. Leadership skills are required across all levels of society, and some of the leadership skills we're talking about talk about our own personal morality, about our position in honest living, in truthfulness, in not engaging in corruption, and so on. So there's many human values that have to be explained and understood as part of the leadership program. So it's all good, and it's not the domain of one particular part of society exclusive to another. So our mission is to try and cover or cast the net as wide as possible, so that the maximum number of people within Bharat can benefit from this.
One more interesting thing I found in Mr. Vic, Dr. Vic, is that he's a great promoter of permaculture and organic farming. This we're going to take to entire country, starting from special spiritual zone of Ayodhya. Because what we are eating today is not the right food. And even our Ayurveda says, you become what you eat, what you consume.
Yes, and this reflects also the European understanding, you are what you eat. And if we take a step back to the time of people like Socrates and Plato in ancient Greece, they were modern contemporaries during the time of when Buddhism was first codified, or when the Bhagavad Gita was first written down. So Socrates and Plato were philosophers of their time based in Greece. And one of their contemporaries was a man called Hippocrates. Mm-hmm. And Hippocrates is famous for the quote, "Let your food be your medicine, and let your medicine be your food." So what we need to look at as a modern society is how to rejig our consumption of food into more healthy practices, eating food that is organically produced, biodynamically produced clean without chemicals and pesticides, to improve our overall health so that we don't get ill. So in understanding this particular area of permaculture, which is permanent sustainable agriculture systems, organics, companion planting, rainwater harvesting, grey water management, and so on, these are all topics covered under the umbrella of permaculture. So this is an area that we will be definitely developing all around the country.
Okay, today we have just one small question for you. See, the problem world is facing is of the wars. How do you intend to stop these, or at least check these wars, or this? Because according to me, war is only when you are going to take something which is not yours, or someone has taken it from you and you want to get it back.
This is a very interesting question, and something that would require more than just 3 minutes to respond to. Mm-hmm. But in a nutshell, if we understand the way world politics is played, we will understand that many countries around the world, the faces of the politicians are merely the faces, the puppets. Mm-hmm. The people behind them, the people operating the military industrial complexes, multinational corporations who are funding political parties, who are funding politicians to get things done on their behalf. We have to have a look at the bigger picture and what's going on behind the scenes. The politicians themselves are generally not the true rulers of the country. It is those behind them that are putting the money in the pockets and the funding to get their man in Parliament. So when you see the manipulation of politics, and it's very, very obvious in many countries, it's also seen here in India. To get to the root of the problem, we have to bring about transparency in governance. And transparency is the one thing that the babus do not want. If there's truthfulness and transparency in politics, the whole face of politics will change. So then we can root out those people that are warmongering for the profit. There's huge profits involved. What most people don't know is that, take for example, if you have a look at Russia and Ukraine, this is an energy war. It's not about, we want that slice of land. It's all based on energy. Russia is one of the largest gas producers in the world. They've been supplying gas to Europe through pipelines that actually pass through Ukraine. Ukraine has not been paying taxes. So there's a reason they've defaulted on billions of dollars of taxes to the Russians. Russians aren't happy about that. Meanwhile, the alternative pipeline that goes through the North Sea into Europe was sabotaged, and the Americans have admitted involvement in that. So this is a geopolitical play. Now, who stands to benefit from this? Do we wonder why Israel is bombing the hell out of Palestine? It's because just off the coast of Palestine, in the 300-kilometre zone, are huge gas fields. And guess what? The Israelis have been taking contracts from the Europeans to supply gas from that area. But they can't do it while Palestine exists. If they bomb the hell out of Gaza, they take over the ocean rights as well and can fulfill the promises and take that geopolitical balance away from the Russians. Goes to Israel instead. So there's much we have to learn about international politics by digging deep into what's motivating all these things behind the scenes. So that's the short answer. The longer answer goes much deeper.
Yeah. So that means in future, with these leadership programs, we are going to resolve many issues globally also, and locally and globally both.
Well, we can hope for that, but how can we hope to influence every decision around the world? I don't think that's possible. But we can be the people who quicken or help to facilitate change. And by doing that, we need to start at the fundamentals, building in truthfulness, honesty, propriety, the good qualities that is admired in human beings, build that into leadership programs, train leaders to be charismatic, to be truthful, to be honest, and bring the society forward in this manner. I think that from our perspective, it's a small contribution which will have a knock-on effect over time.
It was a pleasure speaking to you, Dr. Vic, and thank you very much for being with us. So we'll be taking this up in next series of interviews.
Stay tuned, we will be back.
Yeah. Thank you. Namaskar. I don't know what
Way of stabilizing it.
दोबारा से शुरू